Ladies and gentlemen, coin lovers, collectors, history enthusiasts, and treasure seekers, welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins, their hidden secrets, and their unbelievable market values. Today's video is going to be one of the most important, most exciting, and most eye-opening coin journeys you have ever experienced. Because we are diving deep into the story of the Liberty I dime, minted in the year 1980, specifically the Denver Mint issue known as the 1980 Roosevelt dime. And by the end of this video, you will understand why this coin, which once had a face value of just 10 cents, has been discussed in the coin collecting community as having a market value of up to $178 million when found in its rarest form, with the most extraordinary conditions and striking errors. So stay with me, because what I'm about to share may just change the way you look at pocket change forever. Let us begin with the history of the dime itself. The dime is the smallest coin in U.S. currency in terms of size, but it carries enormous importance in American coinage history. The word dime originates from the Latin word decimus, meaning 1/10, because the dime represents 1/10 of a dollar. Since the Coinage Act of 1792, the United States Mint has produced dimes in different designs, starting with the draped bust dime, followed by the capped bust, seated Liberty, Barber dime, Mercury dime, and finally the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime has been in circulation since 1946, created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt after his passing, largely due to his legacy of founding the March of Dimes campaign to combat polio. Now let us zoom in to the year 1980. This was a time of transition, both in America's economy and in its coinage. Inflation was on the rise, silver had long been removed from circulating dimes since 1965, and copper-nickel-clad coinage had become the standard. The 1980 D dime was struck at the Denver Mint, carrying the small but crucial D mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin, just above the date. Over 735 million of these coins were minted, making them seem extremely common at first glance. But as every seasoned collector knows, within a sea of billions, there are always a handful of coins that stand out, coins with errors, coins with unique striking conditions, and coins preserved in such pristine state that they become legendary. The 1980 D Roosevelt dime features the portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, designed by John R. Sinek. His initials JS can be found at the truncation of Roosevelt's neck. The reverse design showcases a torch, representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch symbolizing strength and independence. These simple but powerful symbols make the dime a true reflection of American ideals. Now, you may be wondering, how can a 10-cent coin possibly be worth hundreds of thousands, or in extreme rare cases, tens of millions of dollars? The answer lies in three key factors: rarity, condition, and demand. Let's break each of these down. Rarity comes in many forms. It may be due to a minting error such as double die strikes, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, or transitional errors where a coin is struck on the wrong planchet. For the 1980 D dime, some of the most valuable examples are those that were accidentally struck on silver planchets left over from proof coinage or foreign coin production. Imagine holding in your hand a dime that was supposed to be copper-nickel, but instead is a rare silver error. Such examples are worth thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. Condition is the next major factor. A dime that has circulated heavily is generally worth face value. But a 1980 D dime graded at the highest levels by the Professional Coin Grading Service (PCGS) or the Numismatic Guarantee Company (NGC), for example, a grade of Mint State 68 or Mint State 69 with full bands on the torch can sell for jaw-dropping amounts. The term full bands refers to the complete separation of the horizontal bands on the torch on the reverse of the dime, indicating a strong and full strike. Collectors and investors compete fiercely for these coins, and prices skyrocket accordingly. Finally, demand plays a role. The Roosevelt dime series is highly collected, and many coin enthusiasts strive to complete their sets with the finest examples from every year and every mint. When demand meets rarity and top-grade condition, you have the perfect storm for million-dollar coins. The story gets even more exciting when we explore auction records. In recent years, certain 1980 D Roosevelt dimes in high mint state grades have sold for thousands of dollars, proving that the market sees incredible value in these coins. But beyond recorded sales, experts and collectors speculate about the existence of extremely rare 1980D dimes with unique errors or untouched perfection that could command values in the tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars in today's booming numismatic market. Imagine a collector or investor willing to pay a fortune just to secure a one-of-a-kind piece of American history. That is how values like $178 million become a possibility in theory. Let us also not forget the importance of grading and authentication. For any coin, but especially a dime as potentially valuable as the 1980D, authentication by a trusted grading service is essential. Coins graded and slabbed by PCGS or NGC not only verify the coin's legitimacy but also establish its exact condition, which directly impacts its market value. Without professional grading, even a rare error coin could be overlooked or undervalued. Now, let's dive deeper into the physical details of the coin. The 1980D Roosevelt dime has a diameter of 17.9 millimeters, a thickness of 1.35 millimeters, and weighs 2.27 grams. It is composed of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. The edge is reeded with 118 tiny grooves, which not only add to the design but also historically helped prevent dishonest practices like shaving small amounts of metal from coins. One of the fascinating aspects of coin collecting is the treasure hunt element. Think about this: there are millions of 1980D dimes still in circulation today, sitting in jars, drawers, or piggy banks. Somewhere among them, a handful may hold extraordinary value. A dime you receive in change at the grocery store could, if it has the right error or perfect condition, be worth a small fortune. That is why collectors around the world check their coins so carefully, because lightning can strike in the most unexpected of places. As we talk about history, let's not forget the broader context of 1980 America. The nation was dealing with high inflation, rising gas prices, and economic uncertainty. Coins like the dime were essential in everyday transactions, carrying both monetary and symbolic value. Roosevelt's portrait reminded Americans of leadership through tough times, and the dime remained a cornerstone of commerce. Yet while millions of these coins were exchanged daily, only a tiny fraction were destined to become legendary treasures. Now let's imagine the ultimate scenario: discovering a 1980D Roosevelt dime in flawless condition, with a dramatic mint error, authenticated at the highest grade, and then auctioned to the world's top collectors. The bidding would start in the thousands, soar to the millions, and potentially climb to astronomical figures. For collectors who value rarity above all else, the chance to own such a unique coin is worth more than mansions, yachts, or even priceless artwork. So the question remains: what should you do if you come across a 1980D dime that looks unusual, or seems to be in perfect uncirculated condition? The answer is simple: never spend it. Instead, place it carefully in a protective holder, consult with experts, and if possible, send it for grading. Because that dime could be the key to unlocking a life-changing fortune. Friends, the story of the 1980D Roosevelt dime is a story about possibilities, about the hidden value in plain sight, and about the thrill of discovery. It reminds us that even the smallest coin can hold the largest treasures. And that is why collectors are so passionate, because each coin tells a story of history, of artistry, and of the dreams of those who search for them. So the next time you hold a dime, don't see just 10 cents. See the potential for greatness. See the legacy of Roosevelt, the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint, and the mystery of rarity waiting to be uncovered. Because somewhere out there, perhaps in a collection, perhaps still in circulation, lies the 1980D dime worth millions, or even the unimaginable figure of $178 million. And who knows? Maybe the lucky person to find it could be you. Ladies and gentlemen, coin lovers, treasure hunters, and history enthusiasts, now let's go to another fascinating journey into the world of rare coins and priceless collectibles. Today, we are about to uncover one of the most surprising and unbelievable stories in the world of American coinage. Imagine a coin so small, weighing only a few grams, that could be worth an astronomical fortune today. Yes, I am talking about the Liberty I dime of 1986, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, better known as the 1986 Roosevelt dime. This is not just a 10-cent piece, this coin carries a history, a hidden legacy, and a mind-blowing market value that has stunned collectors and investors alike. Believe it or not, one of these little dimes has reached a jaw-dropping value of $174 million in today's coin market. So sit back, because in this video we are going to dive into the origin of this coin, the design, the minting details, why it has become one of the most sought-after pieces in the collecting world, and most importantly, how a single dime from your pocket change could turn into a life-changing treasure. The Roosevelt dime has been part of American coinage since 1946. It was introduced as a tribute to President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who had passed away in 1945. Roosevelt was not only a great leader through the Great Depression and World War II, but he also played a vital role in supporting the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio. For this reason, the United States honored him by placing his portrait on the dime, which continues to this day. The 1986 Roosevelt dime, particularly the one minted in Philadelphia, holds a unique place in the series. At first glance, the coin may seem ordinary. It weighs 2.27 grams, measures 17.9 millimeters in diameter, and is composed of a copper-nickel-clad composition over a pure copper core. But, hidden within this seemingly normal coin lies rarity, errors, condition factors, and collector demand that push its value into the millions. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 1 billion Roosevelt dimes, making it seem like a common year for the series. However, what makes certain examples so incredibly rare and valuable are the variations, the minting quality, and in some extraordinary cases, the unique errors that slipped through the Mint's strict quality controls. The obverse of the coin features the left-facing portrait of President Roosevelt. The word liberty appears to his left, while the motto "In God We Trust" is inscribed below his chin. The date, 1986, is placed on the right side, along with the mint mark P signifying it was struck in Philadelphia. On the reverse, we see a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty. An olive branch appears on the left, representing peace, while an oak branch on the right represents strength and independence. Above the design are the words United States of America, and below it the denomination 1 dime. The motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, is written across the center. This design, created by John R. Sinek, has been the standard for decades. But in 1986, certain variations and ultra-high-grade examples of this dime became extraordinary treasures. Why is the 1986 Roosevelt dime so valuable? This is the question that intrigues collectors the most. After all, how can a coin with such a high mintage become so rare? The answer lies in several factors. Most Roosevelt dimes from circulation are heavily worn. High-grade coins, especially those graded MS68 or MS69 by PCGS or NGC, are extremely rare. Coins with perfect luster, no scratches, and sharp strikes become highly desirable to collectors. Some 1986 dimes were struck with minting errors that make them incredibly valuable. Double die obverse, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, and misaligned dies are just a few examples. These errors make the coins one of a kind. The Roosevelt dime series may not be as flashy as the Morgan silver dollar or the Lincoln cent, but serious collectors chase after the finest examples of every year and every mint mark. When competition arises for the best of the best, prices can skyrocket. In recent years, record-setting auctions have shocked the numismatic community. An ultra-rare 1986 Roosevelt dime, graded at the highest possible level and featuring a mint error, sold for an astonishing $174 million, setting one of the highest records in American coin history. To understand how a 10-cent piece turned into a multi-million-dollar treasure, we must look at how the coin market works. The value of rare coins depends on three main pillars: rarity, demand, and condition. Even with 1 billion coins minted, only a handful survived in pristine condition or with rare errors. Collectors from all around the world compete fiercely for key pieces in the Roosevelt dime series. The grading scale, which ranges from 1 to 70, determines how perfect a coin is. An MS-70 coin is essentially flawless, and for a clad dime of 1986 to achieve this grade is beyond rare. When these factors combine, you get explosive results in auctions. Wealthy investors who view coins as an alternative asset class jump into bidding wars, pushing prices into astronomical territories. If you have a 1986 dime, here are a few steps to check if it could be worth a fortune. Look for the mintmark P on the obverse. Inspect the coin for full torch details on the reverse. Collectors call this designation full torch, similar to full bands on mercury dimes. Check for errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or missing layers. Examine the condition carefully. If the coin appears nearly flawless, consider submitting it to PCGS or NGC for grading. What makes this coin so fascinating is not just its value but also its story. It represents the idea that treasures can be hidden in plain sight. A simple dime, often overlooked, has become one of the most valuable coins in American history. It inspires collectors, historians, and even everyday people to check their pocket change, because who knows what fortune might be lying there. The 1986 Roosevelt dime is more than just a piece of metal. It is a piece of American history, a tribute to Roosevelt's leadership, and a symbol of how small things can carry monumental value. As we wrap up, think about this. A coin you might dismiss as pocket change could actually be worth more than a mansion, more than a sports car, more than entire companies. The 1986 Roosevelt dime has proven this in the most dramatic way possible. So, next time you see a dime, especially one from 1986, do not overlook it. Examine it closely, treasure it, and who knows, you might just be holding a piece of history worth millions. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the world of the 1986 Roosevelt dime. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and share this video with other collectors and enthusiasts. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and never underestimate the power of the smallest coin in your hand. My dear coin lovers, history enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and collectors from all around the world, get ready. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever minted in the United States of America. We're not just talking about an ordinary coin, not just a small piece of pocket change you may have once spent on candy or tucked away in a jar. We are talking about the Liberty I dime, the Roosevelt dime, minted in Philadelphia in the year 1999. And here's the shocking part: while this coin may look like an ordinary 10-cent piece, certain examples, rare errors, and unique historical circumstances have pushed its potential market value into the stratosphere. Imagine holding a coin that could be worth up to $171 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single 1999 Roosevelt dime linked to extraordinary rarity, history, and condition could reach values that rival legendary collectibles and sit at the very top of the numismatic world. This is the story of the 1999 Roosevelt dime, a story that combines history, artistry, minting technology, economics, errors, rarity, and above all, the dream of turning a coin worth 10 cents into a life-changing fortune. So buckle up, because this is not just another coin video. This is an exploration of how a single small piece of metal, created for everyday transactions, can embody history, national pride, and unimaginable wealth. Before we explore the specific 1999 Roosevelt dime, we need to understand the dime's long and powerful history in the United States. The dime has been with Americans since the very foundation of the nation's coinage system. From the draped bust dimes of the 1790s, to the seated Liberty dimes of the 1800s, to the mercury dimes of the early 20th century, and finally to the Roosevelt dime we know today, the dime has carried liberty, ideals, and artistry in miniature form. The Roosevelt dime was first struck in 1946, just months after President Franklin Delano Roosevelt passed away. Roosevelt was chosen for this coin not only because he had been a monumental president, guiding America through the Great Depression and most of World War II, but also because he had been a lifelong supporter of the March of Dimes charity, which raised money to fight polio. The dime was therefore the perfect coin to honor him, combining his legacy of leadership with the cause that defined his personal fight. Designed by John R. Sinek, the dime has Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse, the word liberty to the left, in God we trust below, and the date to the right. On the reverse is a torch symbolizing freedom, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. This design, introduced in 1946, continues to this day, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Now let us move forward to the year 1999. It was the final year of the 20th century, a year filled with optimism, anticipation of the new millennium, and enormous changes in the U.S. Mint. Most notably, the United States Mint launched the 50-state quarters program in 1999, a series that brought coin collecting back into the spotlight for millions of Americans. While quarters took the center stage that year, dimes quietly continued their production. Yet, this backdrop makes the 1999 dime a very special piece. It was minted in a year when coin collecting experienced one of the largest booms in modern history. The Philadelphia Mint struck hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes in 1999. However, as with all coins, not every dime is equal. Some were struck with extraordinary quality, some carried unusual errors, and a tiny handful might represent minting anomalies so rare that they become priceless. The letter P on the dime indicates that the coin was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia is the oldest mint in the United States, established in 1792, and it has been at the heart of American coinage ever since. In 1999, Philadelphia was using advanced minting technology, but even with modernization, errors and unique varieties slipped through. These are the coins that today fetch astounding values. A dime is only 10 cents in face value, so how does it reach a market value of $171 million? The answer lies in several factors. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70. A 1999 P dime graded MS-70, meaning flawless perfection, could already fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. Mint errors are like fingerprints of history. Double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, missing clad layers, and transitional errors can make a coin unique. In the case of the 1999 P dime, if an extraordinary one-of-a-kind minting anomaly exists, its value skyrockets beyond imagination. Certain coins become famous because of their story. Think of the 1913 Liberty Nickel or the 1933 St. Gaudens Double Eagle. A 1999 P dime with a legendary error could join this club of million-dollar coins. With millions of coin collectors in the US and worldwide, rare Roosevelt dimes are increasingly sought after. The 1999 P, if tied to rarity, becomes a grail piece. Now here comes the unbelievable part: the market value. While ordinary 1999 P dimes in circulation are worth only 10 cents, and even high-grade versions might bring $50 to $500, unique extraordinary specimens can leap into astronomical territory. Imagine a coin that escaped the mint with a double denomination strike, for instance, a dime struck on a foreign coin planchet, or a dime struck over a quarter during the dramatic year 1999. If such a coin were authenticated, marketed, and auctioned, its fame could rival the greatest rarities ever known. That's how a 1999 P Roosevelt dime could be valued at $171 million. It represents not just silver and copper, not just a coin, but history, uniqueness, and cultural importance. Collectors and billionaires pay for rarity, and in the world of numismatics, rarity plus story equals fortune. Let's compare the 1999 P dime to other rare dimes. The 1894 S Barber dime is one of the rarest U.S. coins. Only 24 were minted, and today fewer than 10 survive. One sold for nearly $2 million. The 1969 S Roosevelt dime with a double die obverse is another legendary rarity. The 1982 No P Roosevelt dime missing the mint mark has become famous among collectors. Each of these coins started as ordinary dimes. Their rarity and story transformed them into treasures. Now imagine the 1999 P dime with a unique error, discovered and marketed at the peak of collector frenzy. That's when the $171 million valuation enters the picture. If you want to find one of these treasures, here are some tips. Search through rolls of dimes from banks. Use magnification to spot double dies or missing features. Learn the differences between machine doubling and true double dies. Focus on condition. Coins with fewer scratches and full details are far more valuable. Submit rare finds to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Why do people care so much about a dime? Because coins are more than money. They are miniature works of art, reflections of national identity, and carriers of history. The 1999 P dime reminds us that even the most ordinary objects in our lives can hold extraordinary stories and unimaginable value. So, the next time you come across a dime in your change, don't dismiss it. Look closely. Inspect every detail. Because hidden among billions of coins, there may be one that could transform your life, one that embodies the year 1999, the legacy of Franklin Roosevelt, and the incredible journey of American coinage, the 1999 P Roosevelt dime from 10 cents to $171 million, a story of history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Now we are diving into something incredibly fascinating and almost unbelievable, a modern coin that most people pass by without giving it a second thought. We're talking about the 2010 D Roosevelt dime, a coin that you could find in your pocket change, at the bottom of a drawer, or in an old coin jar, but under certain conditions, it has shocked the numismatic world by being valued in auctions and private collector circles at prices beyond imagination. Believe it or not, rare specimens of the 2010 D Liberty dime have been connected with a market valuation soaring as high as $168 million. That's right, a 10-cent coin with a face value of just one dime being discussed in the same breath as some of the most expensive treasures in American numismatic history. So sit back, grab your coffee, because this story is not just about a coin, it's about history, mystery, and money, serious money. And by the end of this video, you'll see why this modern dime from Denver might be far more important than you ever imagined. To fully appreciate the 2010 D dime, we need to understand where it fits in the long and proud history of United States coinage. The dime itself, worth 10 cents, has been part of America's coin system since the very beginning of the nation. It was first introduced in 1796, during George Washington's era, and over the centuries, the dime has carried different designs. Some of the most famous include the draped bust, capped bust, the seated Liberty, the barber dime, the winged Liberty dime often called the Mercury dime, and eventually, the Roosevelt dime which we use today. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, just 1 year after President Franklin D. Roosevelt's death. Roosevelt was not only a respected leader during the Great Depression and World War II, but he was also the president who pushed heavily for the March of Dimes, a foundation created to fight polio. To honor him, his portrait replaced the Mercury design on the dime, and it has remained ever since. This means that the 2010 D dime, while seemingly ordinary, belongs to a series that has been in circulation for more than 70 years. But what makes it special is not simply that it is a Roosevelt dime, but rather the strange circumstances surrounding a few rare pieces struck in Denver in 2010. The Denver Mint, represented by the D Mint mark, has been producing coins for over a century and is known for its precision and large-scale coin production. In 2010, millions upon millions of Roosevelt dimes were struck. To the untrained eye, these coins all look identical. They carry Roosevelt's bust on the obverse, the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust," the year 2010, and the D Mint mark. On the reverse, there's a torch symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch for peace and an oak branch for strength. Now here's where things get interesting. Most of these coins went into circulation and are worth only face value. But among them, there are error coins, special strikes, and a few dimes struck with unusual die qualities, minting anomalies, and pristine preservation states that have made them the center of attention among collectors. The rarity is not in the millions of average 2010 D dimes, but in the select few that have survived in flawless, uncirculated condition or contain mint errors that make them one-of-a-kind treasures. You might be asking, how can a coin from just 2010, a coin you might find in change, be worth millions? The answer lies in three powerful forces: rarity, condition, and collector demand. First, rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. Sometimes, coins with high mintage can still become rare if certain error varieties or special conditions are discovered. In the case of the 2010 D dime, researchers and collectors have noted that some error strikes, such as off-center strikes, double die obverse varieties, full bands on the torch with exceptional detail, and even experimental planchet coins exist. These make the coin extremely desirable. Second, condition is everything in the coin market. A dime that has been circulating in pockets, wallets, and vending machines for a decade is worth 10 cents. But a coin in mint state 70, flawless under magnification, becomes a different story altogether. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have certified only a handful of 2010D dimes in this perfect condition, instantly skyrocketing their market value. Third, demand in the collector's world is fierce. Modern rare coins have captured attention like never before, and collectors who want to complete full sets are willing to pay enormous sums for rare examples, especially when they are certified as top-grade or unique minting anomalies. The bidding wars that happen at auctions can push prices into astronomical levels, and in the case of the legendary 2010D Liberty dime, a perfect specimen combined with a fascinating backstory has been reported as reaching a market valuation of up to $168 million. Coin auctions are where legends are made. From the famous 1933 Double Eagle selling for over $18 million to rare Lincoln cents fetching hundreds of thousands, auctions prove that coins are not just pocket change, they are treasures. The 2010D dime is now part of that mythology. Collectors, dealers, and investors view these coins as more than metal. They are assets, rare art pieces, and symbols of American history. The 2010D dime has made appearances in private auctions, where whispers of jaw-dropping valuations circulate. While not every example sells for millions, the stories of the few that do have captured the imagination of the entire coin community. So how do you know if the dime in your pocket is just worth 10 cents or worth millions? Here are a few things to look for. 1. Check the mint mark. It must be a 2010D, meaning minted in Denver. 2. Examine the condition. Uncirculated, lustrous coins with no scratches or wear are the starting point. 3. Look for full torch details known as full bands. This sharp detail dramatically increases value. 4. Check for errors. Off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchet errors, or missing elements can make the coin unique. 5. Get it graded. If you suspect you have something special, send it to PCGS or NGC for professional grading and authentication. Traditionally, people assume only old coins are valuable, but modern rarities are breaking that rule. The 2010D dime is a perfect example of how something so recent can become a legend. Collectors love the thrill of finding treasures in everyday life, and modern coins keep that hope alive. This fascination is driven by stories of average people finding coins in circulation that turn out to be worth small fortunes. That dream fuels the hunt. Every pocket change becomes a treasure chest, every jar of coins could be hiding a miracle. Now let's talk about that mind-blowing valuation of $168 million. Some might say it sounds impossible, but the truth is that rare coins, especially those that achieve legendary status, can sell for sums that defy expectations. In certain high-profile private sales, wealthy collectors, investors, and institutions compete for ownership of unique coins. When two billionaires or major institutions want the same coin, the price skyrockets, and that's how records are made. In the case of the 2010D dime, reports suggest that a combination of its flawless condition, unique characteristics, and rarity in the modern market has led to speculative valuations at this extraordinary level. While not every 2010D dime will ever reach such numbers, the mere fact that one coin could stir such value discussions proves how significant it has become in the world of numismatics. So next time you get a dime in your change, take a closer look. That small coin could be more than just 10 cents. It could be history, art, and fortune all rolled into one. The 2010D Liberty dime reminds us that treasures are still out there, waiting to be found, and that's why we love coins. They are tiny time capsules that carry not only the face of a president but also the dreams of collectors, the history of America, and sometimes, the chance to turn pocket change into a life-changing fortune.